Close your eyes for a moment and picture your life as you know it. Your fridge humming with fresh food. Your phone buzzing with notifications, the comforting flush of a modern toilet just a room away. Now imagine all of that ripped away, replaced by a world where every meal is a gamble, every day. A grind, and survival itself feels like a miracle. Welcome to the Middle Ages, a time so raw and relentless that even the toughest among us would be begging for a time machine within 24 hours. As a writer who's spent years diving into the gritty details of medieval history, I'm here to take you on a journey not as a knight in shining armor or a lady in a castle, but as an ordinary soul dropped into the muck and mayhem of this unforgiving era. Let's step into this world together. Starting with the one thing you can't live without: food. You wake up in a cramped, smoky hut. The air thick with the scent of damp straw and yesterday's fire. Your stomach's growling, but don't expect a quick run to the corner store. For the vast majority of medieval folk, think 9 out of 10 people, the peasants, who kept society creaking along, food was less about pleasure and more about staving off hunger. Your daily meal is likely pottage, a watery stew of whatever vegetables you could coax from the rocky soil. A sad handful of cabbage, maybe some onions or turnips if the harvest was kind. This isn't the hearty soup you're imagining, it's a thin, grayish slop, cooked in a single pot that's been simmering for days, maybe weeks. Hygiene? Barely a thought. You might crunch down on a weevil or two, or swallow a bit of dirt that snuck in with the carrots. In one 13th century English village, a chronicler noted families stopped fishing bugs out of their pottage. They just called it extra flavor and moved on. Then there's bread, the backbone of every meal. But this isn't your soft, sliced loaf from the supermarket. Medieval bread is a dense, dark slab, ground from coarse flour that's often mixed with bits of stone from the mill. Chewing it feels like biting into a gravelly brick. And it's not just your teeth protesting. Rye, a common grain for peasants, could harbor ergot, a toxic fungus that brought more than a bad taste. Ergot poisoning could spark hallucinations, convulsions, or a burning sensation called street Anthony's fire that left victims writhing. In severe cases, it meant gangrene or death. Some historians believe ergot-tainted bread fueled the witch hunts, with entire villages tripping out, seeing demons, and accusing neighbors of sorcery. Picture yourself at the table, hoping your daily bread doesn't send you spiraling into madness by sundown. Meat's a pipe dream for most, unless you're a lord with a hunting estate or a merchant with deep pockets. You're not seeing steak on your plate. When meat does show up, maybe a scrap of pork or mutton. It's often teetering on the edge of rot. Without refrigeration, preservation meant heavy salting or smoking. And even then, you're rolling the dice on food poisoning. Spices like pepper or cinnamon, worth more than gold, might mask the rancid taste for the wealthy. But you're just holding your nose and praying. The 5-second rule you joke about today? In the Middle Ages, it's more like a 5-day rule. And nobody bats an eye at eating something that's been sitting out. Drinking water to wash it down? Forget it. Most wells and rivers are cesspools of human waste, animal carcasses, and whatever the local butcher dumped. One sip could mean dysentery or worse. Instead, you're reaching for ale or beer, no, the craft brews you're thinking of. But a weak, cloudy version safe enough to drink. Because the brewing process kills germs. A 14th century study from England pegged the average peasant at 8 pints of ale a day. Kids as young as 5 sip it with every meal. No juice boxes here, just ale mugs for the whole family. If you're near the coast, you might get fresh fish. But inland? It's dried or salted, weeks old, with a smell that could knock you flat. Every bite, every sip, is a gamble in this world. And as your stomach churns from that dubious meal, you're about to face another challenge. What happens when nature calls? You've forced down your gritty pottage and ale, and now your body's ready to process it. In the modern world, you'd stroll to a clean bathroom, flush, and move on. But here, in the medieval muck, answering nature's call is a whole different beast. Picture your bathroom, a chipped ceramic chamber pot tucked under the bed. You share with your family. You do your business, and then what? If you're diligent, you might carry it outside to empty it. If not, you're shouting gardez-vous, from the French garder-l'eau, meaning watch out for the water, and tossing it out the window into the street below. This isn't some rare oddity, it's so common that in 14th century London, they tried to limit waste flinging to after 10 p.m. Imagine dodging that deluge on your evening walk home. If you're in a castle, you might use a garderobe, a stone seat with a hole that drops waste straight down the wall. Sometimes 70 feet, as archaeologists found at Dover Castle. It's less a toilet and more a drafty chute. And even kings and queens aren't spared the indignity. In towns, public sanitation is a fantasy. A few common privies might sit over a river, but they're rare and overflowing. Most folks just find an alley or an open ditch, creating a stench so thick it's like a living thing. Chroniclers called the River Thames a monster of stink. And they weren't exaggerating. Cleaning up afterward? No toilet paper for you. Peasants make do with leaves, moss, or their left. And hence the custom of eating with the right. The wealthy might splurge on wool scraps, but that's as fancy as it gets. The Romans had sponges on sticks, but that wisdom's long gone. The people dealing with this mess are gong. Farmers, unsung heroes of the medieval world. They haul waste from cesspits to dumps outside the city, working only at night because their smell is so bad they're banned from daytime public spaces. The pay's good 4 times a laborer's wage, but you'd need a strong stomach to sign up. Even they can't keep up with the filth. Streets are piled with rotting food, animal guts from butcher shops, and trash with nowhere to go. Bathing's no better. Most folks wash a few times a year, in spring or late summer. Because frequent bathing is thought to let disease in through your pores. Winter means months without a rinse, and lice are so common. You carry a special comb to pick them out. Your medieval dating profile might boast only moderately lice-ridden. And it'd be a selling point. The air itself is an assault, human waste, tanning chemicals, slaughterhouse runoff, and smoke from every hearth. People carry posies, little herb pouches, to mask the stench. But it's like spraying air freshener in a landfill. This isn't just about discomfort. It's a world where every breath, every step, feels like a battle. And speaking of battles, you're about to learn what it means to earn a living. In a world where work could break your body before lunch, your body's still reeling from the food and the filth. But there's no time to rest. Dawn's breaking, and the medieval world waits for no one. You stumble out of your one-room hut, where you, your family, and maybe a stray traveler shared straw pallets for the night. If you're a peasant, and most likely your life is the land. 9 out of 10 people in medieval Europe are tied to the feudal system. Working fields owned by a lord. You grab a wooden plow, hitch it to an ox, if you're lucky, or push it yourself if you're not. The soil's rocky, the work backbreaking. You're sowing seeds by hand, weeding with crude tools, harvesting with a sickle that dulls faster than your spirits. During peak seasons, like harvest, you're at it for 16 hours a day. Burning over 4,000 calories, according to medieval English records. No gym needed, survival's your cardio. Tools are flimsy, wooden plows snap, sickles need constant sharpening. A bad harvest from too much rain or a late frost could mean starvation. Most of your crop goes to the Lord, leaving you with barely enough to scrape by. A lean year might force you to sell your ox, or send a child to work as a servant just to eat. Quitting isn't an option. The feudal system binds you to the land like a chain. If farming's not your fate, maybe you're a craftsman, a blacksmith sweating in a smoky forge, breathing toxic fumes and dodging sparks that could blind you. Tanners wade through urine and chemicals, their skin stained yellow, the stench clinging like a curse. Apprentices start at 7, working 6 or 7 days a week for up to 14 years to become a journeyman. It's not a career path, it's a gauntlet. The poorest take whatever jobs they can. Link boys carry torches to light the way for the wealthy at night, dodging cutthroats for pennies. Pure finders scoop dog feces to sell to tanners, a job so grim it makes modern gig work look like a dream. Wages are a pittance. A day laborer in 14th century England might earn 1 or 2 pennies, enough for a couple of those gritty loaves we talked about. The goal isn't a paycheck, it's not dying before tomorrow's shift. Your body's wearing out, malnourished from a diet of bread and pottage. And every ache feels like a warning. But the real danger's lurking in something you can't see: disease. Let's step into the world of medieval medicine, where a sniffle could be a death sentence. You're bone tired, your hands blistered from the plow or forge. And now you've got a scratch from a rusty tool or a cough that won't quit. Today, you'd grab some medicine or see a doctor. In the Middle Ages, though, illness is a plunge into a nightmare, where the cure might kill you faster than the disease. Germs? Nobody's heard of them. Antibiotics? Not for another 600 years. Medieval folks think sickness comes from bad air or an imbalance of the four humors. Blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile. A fever means a barber surgeon is. The guy cutting your hair doubles as your doctor reaches for a blade. Bloodletting's the fix for everything. They slice your vein, drain pints into a bowl, and if you faint, they figure it's working. Still sick? More bloodletting. Leeches are another go-to, sometimes 70 at a time. Sucking out your bad blood, per a 13th century medical text. Teeth? A disaster. No toothbrushes, just decay from gritty bread and sugary ale. Toothaches are so common that dentists just wait for screams. Extractions are done with pliers, no painkillers, and infections a given. Medicines like mercury for skin rashes or syphilis are as likely to poison you as help. The Black Death in the 1340s wiped out half of Europe, millions dead in a few years. Even minor illnesses like a cold could turn into pneumonia. And 30% of kids didn't make it to 5, felled by diarrhea or infections. We'd treat with a pill today. Life expectancy? About 30 to 40, and reaching that was a triumph. Hospitals are more about prayers than medicine. Run by monks offering beds but little care. Surgery's a last resort, no anesthesia, no sterilization. Picture a barber surgeon sawing your leg with a dirty blade, while you bite a stick for pain. Survival's a long shot. Superstition fills the gaps. Illness might be blamed on a witch's curse, driving fear and paranoia. That fear feeds into the final gauntlet of medieval life, a justice system and world of warfare that could crush you without warning. You've dodged rancid food, filthy streets, brutal work, and deadly doctors. But the Middle Ages has one last test, and it's a doozy. Step into the world of medieval law and war, where one misstep could mean torture, execution, or a battlefield grave. Justice isn't fair, it's a hammer to keep people in line. Laws change from village to village, and you might not know what's illegal until you're chained up. Steal a loaf to feed your kids? Lose a hand. Cut a tree in the king's forest? That's a hanging. Over 200 crimes in medieval England carry the death penalty. Trials? Forget evidence. Trial by ordeal rules carry a red-hot iron 9 feet. And if your burns heal cleanly in 3 days, you're innocent. If they fester, good luck. Trial by water's worse, tied up. Tossed in a river, you sink and drown if innocent, float and die if guilty. God's supposed to save the righteous, but the odds aren't great. Executions are a spectacle. Hanging's the kind option. Treason might get you drawn and quartered, dragged by horses, hanged. Disemboweled alive, beheaded, and chopped up. Crowds bring snacks, treating it like a festival. Prisons are dark, crowded pits, just holding cells until your real punishment. Torture's standard: racks stretch your limbs. Thumb screws crush fingers, all to force confessions, true or false. Public humiliations, lighter but brutal, locked in stocks. You're pelted with rotten food in the town square. Women accused of gossiping get the ducking stool, dunked under water until they choke. War's even worse. The 100 Years' War drags on for 116 years, and you'll see multiple conflicts in your short life. Knights in full armor are rare. Most soldiers wear padded cloth and wield spears or farm tools. The longbow, piercing armor, kills thousands in battles like Toten, where 28,000 die in a day. Armies loot villages, burn crops, and leave civilians starving. Sieges trap you in walled towns, eating rats or worse to survive. Disease kills more than swords, with armies spreading illness in filthy camps. Everyday life's no better. Towns reek of waste and smoke, clothes itch and rot, privacy's a myth in one-room homes. Entertainment's grim executions, animal baiting, or rare minstrel shows. Superstition rules, eclipses spark panic, and witches are blamed for every ill. You're probably dreaming of your modern bed, clean water, and Wi-Fi. The Middle Ages tested every ounce of human grit, and surviving a day would take more than most of us have. Next time you curse a slow internet connection, be thankful you're not dodging chamber pots or praying your bread doesn't make you see demons. If this journey through medieval horrors fascinated you, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Could you survive a day in this world? Let's keep the conversation going.